Hey, my name's James Dawson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now in this video, we're going to talk about should you buy properties in a limited company? Who should do that? Who shouldn't do that? And we're going to get all of that covered, so make sure you stick around to the end. Now this channel is all about my investment journey. I want to invite you to join me on this journey. I'm building my portfolio out bigger this year. As well as that, I'm building a portfolio for my two daughters. I've got Georgia, who's 21. We've just built our first, well, we haven't built, we've just got our first two deals. And you can see actually behind the scenes on this channel on how those deals have gone so far. And my little baby, Amelie. So how can you join us? You can take that finger of power, spin it around, smash that subscribe button, guys. Do it now. It won't hurt you. Smash that subscribe button there and hit the bell notification to find all the good, the bad, and the ugly of property investing. Now, should you buy in a limited company is what I want to cover here, because that is what a lot of people are considering. And so myself personally, I have the majority of my portfolio is not in a limited company. It's in my personal name. And that's because I started investing 22 years ago where no one really put it into a limited company because tax, you didn't need to. Now, firstly, why would you even be looking at this? Well, there's a rule called Section 24, which is some new legislation, which means that having it outside of a limited company in your personal name could be not as good for you. So let's just give you a reason for that and let's explain how that works. Now, let's just say you bought a property and your mortgage on that property was £500, right? And you were able to achieve £1,000 in rent. This is actually very similar numbers to the deal we've just done with Georgia. So historically, before Section 24, what would happen is you collect your £1,000 rent and you would deduct your costs, which was your mortgage, which would leave you with, we're just giving round numbers here. I know you're going to have costs of insurance and estate agents and stuff like that, but this would give you £500 in profit, right? And this is what you would pay tax on. You would pay tax on this amount here, on that £500. Now, here's where things have changed. You're now not able to deduct the costs. So you are now obliged with the Section 24 rules to pay tax on this amount here, on the £1,000. Now, this is where this comes a problem, because if you're paying tax on this, then you personally, if you're in the higher rate income tax, so say you're on 50% tax, that means you're going to pay £500 tax out of that £1,000 in income, which means on this deal, you would make zero. So that's not very attractive, is it? It's not a very attractive return on your investment. And so this is what's spooking a lot of historic landlords at the moment. Now, because Section 24 is in, they're suddenly leaving the market because it's not very tax efficient. Now, who could still invest in their personal name? Well, my auntie has just purchased a buy-to-let property. She's in her 70s and this will probably be the last property that she will buy. She has her own house that she owns outright and she's bought a buy-to-let property to top up her pension. Now, what she did here was she bought the buy-to-let cash, right? So she doesn't have any of these payments. So this is kind of irrelevant, right? She also isn't going to make millions of pounds in income from this. And so she's not going to necessarily pay much tax on the income that she earns from the property. So for her, with no aspirations to get any more properties, no income from a job anymore, it makes sense to just put that in your personal name, right? That was just what she did. And it was just easier. She did it a few years ago, but it's not a massive concern for her, right? So that's one thing here. Now, that is not the majority of people, right? The majority of people will be buying buy-to-lets and they will have a job, so they'll have an income from that. So it's not very tax efficient to do it in your personal name. So what you should be looking to do is put it into a limited company, right? So if you put it into a limited company, you can claim back the expenses, the mortgage cost, the refurbishment cost, all of this stuff. And also you can put more costs in there to reduce your bills. So for example, if you need to travel to see your properties, you can charge petrol mileage, right? And maybe you have other meetings that you need. And so you can maybe put some food and beverages through when you have that meeting, right? So there's various costs you can put in. So in a limited company, you could get your £1,000 rent, right? So let's just say you've got your £1,000 rent, everyone's happy there. Now you've still got your £500 mortgage, so that's going to be taken off. But then you might have other costs, right, that you might also have that reduced the costs here. So maybe you had petrol and a mobile phone bill, so that takes off another £100, right? So that reduces your profit down to £400. And a limited company, the tax rate at the moment is around 20%. So you're going to pay £100 tax on that. Right, so that's way more tax efficient than going through a personal name, right? Now, also a benefit of having it in a limited company is it's easier to pass that down to other people or to sell that property. You can just sell the limited company. Someone can buy that off you and it's going to be much easier to do that transaction, right? So that's another consideration there, is the ease of moving that property from one person to another. Now, I've set up my limited company for my daughter, Georgia. So we have a limited company between us. We're both directors. We've got different shares in that company with different voting rights, which you can change at different times. You can check with an accountant how to set that up. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to give you advice on that, but you can set that up in a way that if I die, well, unfortunately I will, but when I die, Georgia will take that property company over from me, and then she could add her children in as shareholders into that company, and so you wouldn't go through all the inheritance tax issues that you might have otherwise. So look at the two options here. You've got investing in your personal name. Historically, that's what all buy-to-let landlords did. I did that. Now it's not as tax efficient as it was back in the day, because you're not able to write off that mortgage payment anymore, and you're paying tax on the full income that you get, which is not really great. And that's why some landlords that have it set up like that are selling those properties, and then you could come along and buy one of those properties in a limited company. So the same property, exactly the same house, that could be a bad investment for someone in their personal name, could be an amazing investment because you're buying through a limited company. If that makes sense, give me a quick like on that video, and give me some questions that you've got on property in the comments below, and I'll make sure I make videos on all of those. So a bad deal for someone personally still can be an incredible deal for someone buying through a limited company, purely because they have that ability to pay less tax and to write off different costs in there. So maybe you need a laptop, for example. When you own a laptop in your personal name, you're buying it with after-tax money, right? So if I buy a MacBook, personally myself, for £1,000, I've got to earn £2,000 because I've got to pay 50% tax. I've got to pay all of that tax to be able to get that MacBook. Whereas if I buy the MacBook out of the limited company, I pay £1,000 for the MacBook, plus I'm reducing my tax bill. And so that's another reason that you can do this, right? It's very, very tax efficient to buy in a limited company. If you're an individual and you're just going to buy one property and it doesn't put you into the higher tax bracket, then do it in your personal name. If you're looking to do this seriously and you've got children that you want to pass generational wealth down to, buy in a limited company. What are your thoughts and thinking on this? Do comment below. I really want to know what you guys think on this. And I'd love to invite you to join us at a live event we're running in London. In the description, I'm going to put a link. You can put yourself in the VIP list to get all the information on that. So do that now. Do click on that link. Add yourself to the VIP list. Let's meet up. Let's learn some property stuff. And maybe we'll do some stuff together in the future. I'm James. Do check out all the other videos on the channel, including this one right here.